Awesome. All right, everyone, welcome to another wonderful edition of Inside Out. My name is Sandra Eze, and of course, I am not alone. I have my lovely live audience here with me, who I prefer to call my co-hosts. All right. Today on the show, the topic is too young to lead. You can make that a statement, you can make that a question. Now, as we know, recently there was this campaign online, Not Too Young to Run campaign, in which we had a lot of Nigerian youths crying out that there is a need, a huge need for the youth to be involved in leadership. Now, luckily that has been successful. So this brings about the question, now that the youth have been given the right to leadership, are we too young to lead? That's the topic for today. And of course, I will be introducing my panelists right after the break. Don't forget, this is Inside Out. I am Sandra Eze. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. This is Inside Out. I am Sandra Eze. Before the break, we introduced the topic, which is Nigerian youths, too young to lead. And right about now, I will be introducing my panelists, starting first with Timi Olagunju, who is the recipient of Obama Youth Leadership Award and co-founder of Youth in Motion. You're welcome. And then next, I have Osayuwa Mepi Saleh, who is a TV host and a concerned citizen. Thank you for coming. Up next, I have Honorable Okbeoluwa Sonya, who is a political analyst, Chairman Adeniro Ogunsayo, CDA, and Vice Chairman, Police Public Relations Committee, Bode Thomas Surulere. Great to have you. Finally, I have Tola Johnson, who is a concerned citizen. Great to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now let me start with you, Honorable Okbeoluwa. Why is the Nigerian youth too young to lead?
The reason is because if you see the generation of the youths we have today, they are not very, very unique and organized. If you notice them, they sag, they have dreads all over them, and all these are part of what does not let people look at them to be unique and to be presentable. We're talking about our culture, our nature, our system. It does not welcome that.
Let me take you back a little bit to the First and Second Republic, and of course during the military coup. A lot of people, mostly young Nigerians, would argue the fact that people who were in leadership positions at that point in time were youths in their 20s and early 30s mostly. So why do you think, doesn't that count?
Thank you very much. Those days, that was what I told you now. Those days, it was so unique. When our fathers talk to us, we listen. Today, if you go to some places in my own constituency, in Surulere, they take Benylin, codeine. I don't know why they take it. They're into drugs, which is not supposed to be so. When I was very young, I stayed with friends that smoke, does a lot of things. 15 years, if I can tell you, I've not pulled a drag of smoke. I'm talking about
let me get to you, Timi. What is your view on this youth leadership? Do you agree with him? Do you agree with any point he has made?
Well, in terms of agreeing or not disagreeing, I would rather take it from this perspective, which is this. Is there anywhere where it is statistically proven of any sort that age actually amounts to leadership competence or capacity? Show me that, then perhaps I might toe that part of argument, because evidence is the end of argument, right? And so basically, leadership fundamentally is about three things. Firstly, leading from within. Secondly, being led. And thirdly, leading others. And there's nowhere where that is a function of age. However, let's go through the historical lane. The fact is this. The independence that we had in Nigeria, obviously, like you stated, is a product of young people's initiative towards driving that. And that's because, you see, there's something unique about young people. It's the fact that young people have this energy, which much older people might have lost due to age. And so when we have a unison of that energy with the experience of the old, what we have is a beautiful country. And that is something that Nigeria seems to be lacking because we're not tapping into that.
I'm going to hold you there when you talk about experience. Oh, let me get to you. He spoke about age and experience. Age might be an advantage for the youth, right? But is experience really an advantage? What's your opinion on that?
When he's talking about maturity, I love the point he made about, and I totally agree with him, that there is no, I mean, you cannot quantify maturity based on age. That is a given. But in the context to which we're having this discourse, I want to please leave that definition between 25 to 35. I would say that our youth are not ready. They are not ready, not because, no fault of theirs, but for the system that is on ground today. For the kind of exposure that we have, or we had, and what they have today, we are not ready. And we need to understand that when you are campaigning for certain things, the foundation first has to be laid. Then you can now come tomorrow and say that, yes, I am truly ready. How many youths in Nigeria today would you say have a burning desire and they are following through? I have not found one. Because when you find one, even age cannot stop leadership at that point.
Simi, let me throw that to you. Would you like to respond to that?
I'm actually 31, so I'm still a youth by your definition.
I've not seen your passion.
Well, and the fact is this, you see, the point is that we do not particularly celebrate what we have here. So, for instance, I've been privileged to be one of the very few young people recognized and awarded by President Barack Obama for distinguished leadership. And I'm just one out of 1,001 of them. Now, the point is this. The point is not whether they are not, we don't have young people who are treading the path of leadership. The problem is that we don't have a system that is identifying them. And so we have what we call a selective system where we select those who are close to us rather than go out to identify young people who can drive the system. And you see, simply, what you promote is what becomes popular. So, you know.
Okay, so Tola Johnson, let me ask you this question. Now, we know that in politics, you have to buy your tickets, you have to, well, there's the issue of godfatherism. And if you go through, which I actually don't think a lot of youths know what it takes to, Timmy, that's a question for you much later. A lot of youths don't know what it takes. Like if I'm going to apply for House of Rep or maybe as a president at the age of 35, I don't think they know what it takes to do that, all right? But one of the things the average Nigerian, each one of us here knows is that you need to buy a ticket. And tickets are expensive. And then there's the issue of godfather, who most likely would help you buy a ticket. I'd like you to address that.
Just to digress slightly, I would like to touch on the point my friend there, Mr. Ope Sonia said, that we have youths who are sagging, who are on codeine and all that. I totally disagree. I think it's
You disagree because there aren't youths, or you think they're minority?
No. They are youths, of course. But if they are sagging and they're on codeine and that sort of thing, it's a question of nurturing. We are with our parents from a certain age, from babies to teenage years, maybe sometimes into your 20s, 30s. It's a matter of nurturing. And then after that, the government takes over. So if the youth are not being groomed for leadership, then it's a failure of the leadership class.
Nobody needs to identify you when you are strong on what you believe in and you are following it through. That is my belief. So whatever it is, wherever I find myself, I must make sure I am the best at it. Then these people will not have a choice other than to call me to say, oh, come and sit down. I need you to come and run this part of government. You will not be given that opportunity. Government is not handouts. Even the so-called people that we talk about, that we say they are political leaders, they don't hand it over to them. They fight for it. So how many youths today are willing to fight for it? They did occupy Nigeria. They did occupy Nigeria. A small threat. You're going to lose your job. The soldiers came out. Everybody ran away. We are not ready to die in this country. We're not ready. That is the truth. We are not ready. I was in the university. Why this topic is very passionate to my heart is I have experienced it firsthand. We did not have any single lecture in that particular course. And we were faced with an examination that we did not even, there was no lecture on. We stood up and we revolted and we said we were not going to write the exam. Before we turned back, some people went back and sat down.
Isn't that what?
That is what we're saying.
What the Not Too Young to Run campaign did?
You do not have one voice. Let me tell you something. This Not Too Young to Run campaign, it just takes one political leader to identify the people there. And they call them and say, come, let's sit down. All this noise you are making, keep quiet. Let's sit down. And that will kill Not Too Young to Run. As simple as ABC.
Simi, at this point, Simi, I have
it has not happened yet because they've not found you guys relevant. When you have gotten to that relevance, they will call you to a round table sitting.
Our relevance are shown by the result. Two things. We were able to pass through to establish at least the need for independent candidacy. That one itself, we discovered in the course of political rigmarole that what happens with political structure is that you have people in political structure. You see, irrespective of how competent you are, my friend Dayo Israel is quite competent to the level that the Queen of England recognizes his competence. He's competent to the level that even the leaders in Nigeria know that Dayo is competent. And he came out to run for the chairman of mainland local government, but he did not achieve that purpose. Because,
why?
Because the political structure, okay, the political structure does not meritoriously recognize and identify
could you break that
competence.
Down, please? Who knows the meaning of this? Could you break that down,
Okay,
please?
now, this is it. You talked about the fact that young people, when you show a level of competence, right, people will identify you. Yes, true, I agree. However, when it comes to politics, it is not just about your level of competence. Yes, it is also about the political structure identifying that you are competent.
Does Timmy realize that some people think Dayo Israel sold out? Does he realize that?
Well, some people might think, because people have the what's it called, a right to their own opinion. But Dayo Israel is my friend, and I can say on
also my friend.
record that he did not sell out. Or did he?
He's also my friend.
You can see that. Silence is open.
So we actually went out to the streets to ask questions. Normal Nigerian citizens, youths, elderly people, what do you think? Do you think Nigerian youths are too young to lead? This is what they had to say. Watch this. Do you think the Nigerian youth is too young to lead?
Not at all, not at all.
Why?
Nigerian youths are of age. Nigerian youths are well exposed and educated enough, you know, good enough to rule. We say we are the future, you know, future leaders. But I think the future is here, is now.
You know, all these old politicians, you know, the way they react, if they can clear them away and put a younger person on it, I think he can do better.
I don't think they are too young to lead. I just think that they have not been given the opportunity to express their capabilities and, you know, to take leadership positions in this country.
Okay, so there you have it. That is the view from the public. Can we have like an opinion poll? I know the audience, they are dying to talk right now. Okay, so I see someone ready to talk. Can I have the mic, please? Okay, so let's hear your views. And then Timmy, I remember, I'll get back to you.
My name is Aziz. My own view about this topic is that in some aspects, Nigerian youth are not ready. Though we have a lot of Nigerian youth that are doing great, I would disagree that they are not youth. They are youth that are doing great. We have a lot of Nigerians volunteers people at Yali and things like that. Nigerian youth are doing great. But the thing is that even those that are doing great, the problem here I see there is that people that are doing great are not interested in politics. And there is no way we will shun politics that this problem will be solved. For instance, now if I ask how many of us have voters card in this hall, I believe we have less than 10.
Sorry, okay, let's do that. If you have your voters card, raise your hand.
Can you imagine?
You sold your own. Someone sold yours. Wow, you can sell voters card.
How do you want to make the change? And if I ask now, the last local government election, how many of us went out to cast our votes?
One.
How do we expect the change?
Thank you, my brother.
So we are not ready. Until we are ready to fight for this, there is no way our leaders will come out and say, youth, come and take this leadership stuff and be leading. It's not possible.
Okay, so talking about that, I will get back. I will still leave room for the audience to ask questions. That reminds me of this tweet because the hashtag was trending on Twitter, not too young to run, right? So Cardinal Smart says, I am not too young to run, but the real enemy of the youth is the youth. Majority aren't interested. I have seen this attitude in all fronts, sadly. Could you react to that?
Like I said before, if the youth are not ready to run, it's a failure of the leadership. It's a failure. Because where are the role models? Where are the role models? Owa was saying that how many youth are prepared to die? How many leaders are prepared to die? How many leaders are prepared to die?
All right, another question.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's a comment actually.
Oh, it's a comment.
Thank you very much. My name is Anua Adelakun, and I started an NGO when I was 16 in the university, and I used my pocket money to fund this thing. I'm a women and girls' rights advocate. I'm 25 now, and the opportunities that I was hoping to take advantage of, you know, with regards to youth leadership, I never really got it because most times in Nigeria, it has to be a function of who you know. Is your father there? Are you one of the cabals? However, I continued. Today, I'm a UNICEF Voices of Youth Ambassador. I'm a UN Women Global Champion for Change. And they didn't give it to me. I fought for it. Yeah, and I'm currently going on a British Shibney scholarship as well, because I fought for it. However, one thing I also want to state is that it's not a function of whether, Daddy, you sir, the hair that we do. I wear purple glasses. A lot of people don't take me seriously, but I know what I stand for.
God bless you. God bless you for saying that.
I do have a tweet which I think is very interesting. So I'm asking this is for you. At Afali says, while I support Not Too Young to Run campaign, my observations are really that young people are no better and they're no worse than us old folks. So
that's a fantastic point. But firstly, let's look at the Not Too Young to Run campaign, right? So this campaign in itself came about through the mobilization of certain young people, right? So, and they were able to, through their own capacity, negotiate and discuss with certain key power blocks to achieve the results. Now, the first thing that is identifiable about the Not Too Young to Run campaign is the first reduction in age. The second thing, which we might not have been discussing as much in this panel, is the independent candidacy issue. Now, the truth about it is that is a door of opportunity for us. Now, this independent candidates issue helps us solve the issue of finance and funding associated with political parties. And so this is what it does. What you just need to do as a young person is to ensure that you show a consistency in service. So, for example, myself, right, I make sure as a point of duty that in Ibadan, in Oyo State, I organize something called Democracy in Action. And what is it? We take teenagers and young people to observe parliamentary sittings and then learn the art of lawmaking, budgeting, and all that. And that's an individual's effort. And so I think it's important that young people also start to see the importance of taking advantage of all this all together and not throw away the baby and the bathwater, because the journey of a million miles begins with a step.
Right, fantastic point. At this point, We don't have a lot of time again, so I would like to get your final words, each of you, very quickly, please.
My final word, sorry, to Mr. Timmy for what he just said.
To him or to us?
No, to him. You know, as a young person, until you're able to wield a lot of influence in the mind spaces of people, you're not ready for leadership. So when you say that you want to, run, even in that independent candidacy that you have, if nobody is behind you, you are not going to succeed. So let's start focusing on what we are passionate about and start driving through those things. And let these old people see us.
Okay.
That we are ready. And they will not have a choice other than to bow.
Okay, fantastic.
Until we get to that point, I would say the young people are not there yet.
Okay. All right, Honorable Beluwa.
My final word is be determined in whatever you do, be bold. Because when I contested election in 1996, it was 0 party. 10 people, we were 10 that contested. G2 Surulere local government, and I won the election. 1996, I was not up to 30 years.
Wow.
I was about 27, 28. And I went into politics. I went to all those people, told them about my zeal. My friends, one of my friends, sorry, let me round up.
Please do.
Told them outrightly that they should not write his name. He's not interested. A lot of them, but people voted for me because I have the confidence and I believe in myself.
Okay, basically confident. All right, final words from you, Tola.
The leadership of this country needs to give democracy a chance. We don't have democracy, we have selectocracy. That's the first thing. Okay? They need to give democracy a chance. They need to see the larger picture. It's not about being in governance so that you can enrich yourselves. It's about seeing the future of this country. 60% of the Nigerian population are under 25. And there's a disconnect between the leadership and the youth. There needs to be that marriage. In the UK, for example, you have the House of Lords and they have the House of Commons. People of geriatric age, above 65, 70, 80, are in the House of Lords. They have that responsibility to guide if the youth are going off rail, they have that responsibility to guide it. But Warren Buffett said something. There are 3 things he looks for in people: intelligence, energy, and integrity.
Okay. I think that's a fantastic place to round off. All right. Wow, it's been very, very interesting on the show today. Thank you so much, my panelists. You're amazing. Timmy, I thought you already had your final word.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
but anyways, well, the quick thing is this. Well, culture, not politics, determines the success of a nation. But politics can change a culture and deliver it from itself. It's time for young people to start developing their inner capacity, developing the capacity to be led, and then start to lead others. Politically, enough of career leadership.
Thank you.
We need career leaders like yourself to delve into political leadership. Thank you.
Welcome. All right. Okay, fantastic point, Timmy. On that note, we call it a wrap on the show today. Thank you so much for watching Inside Out today. And don't forget, the discussion continues. Go on to our social media page, Inside Out with Agatha, and leave your comments or your questions. I'm definitely sure we're going to treat this topic again today because I didn't even ask half of the questions. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you, my live audience. You have been fantastic. Don't forget to watch our previous episodes on www.insideoutmedia.tv, and also you can watch it on YouTube, Inside Out with Agatha. Thank you so much for being a part of our show today. See you on our next episode of Inside Out. I am Sandra Eze.